My name is Madison Keller, and at 18, I finally understood the fundamental lie I'd lived for years. Responsible daughter was just a polite way of saying invisible. My 18th birthday was supposed to be my moment, but when I walked into our living room, the cake and gifts were for my younger brother, Brandon. As he unwrapped a brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max, celebrated by everyone I loved, a quiet, permanent break happened inside me. What I found next, hidden in a forgotten folder, wasn't just a slight, it was grand theft. My grandmother's college fund, drained, used for his private school, all while my father built his reputation on our perfect family. In just weeks, the carefully constructed facade of my entire childhood would crumble, exposing the man who thought his image was unbreakable, still oblivious to the receipts I'd gathered. Before I do, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story earns it. Drop your city and your local time in the comments. I like knowing who's out there. My name is Madison Keller, and I had just turned 18 when I finally understood that being the responsible daughter was just another way of saying invisible. My birthday was supposed to be mine. I had circled it on my calendar for months, not because I expected some huge celebration, but because turning 18 felt like proof that I had survived years of being compared, corrected, and pushed aside. But when I walked into our living room that evening, the banner did not say my name. The cake was not for me. The wrapped gifts were not mine. The room was full of people cheering for someone else. And I was expected to smile, because that was what I always did. I had spent my savings helping prepare that party. I had skipped a college entrance workshop to clean the house, order balloons, arrange the food, and picked up the cake after school. I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would remember that it was my birthday, too. Then the golden boy opened a brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max, and everyone clapped like he had won an award. I looked down at the kitchen counter and saw what they had left for me. A slice of cake someone had already eaten from with a card beside it that said, "Be more like him." Nobody looked embarrassed. Nobody corrected it. They laughed. I laughed too, because sometimes your body protects your heart before your mind can catch up. But inside, something quiet and permanent broke. Before I tell you what he said and what happened after I walked out, tell me what time is it where you are right now? And where are you watching from? I want to know how far the story travels, because for years my own family acted like my voice could not leave that house. I did not storm out during the party. I did not throw the cake. I did not scream about how unfair it was. Even though I had rehearsed that speech in my head since I was 14. I stayed until the last guest left, washed the plates, wiped frosting from the counter, and carried trash bags to the curb while everyone else sat in the living room talking about how lucky our family was. That was the strangest part. They truly believed we were lucky. My father, Richard Keller, had built his reputation in our small Ohio suburb by selling an image. A hardworking family man, a church volunteer, a business owner who sponsored youth events and gave speeches about discipline. My mother, Denise Keller, was the woman everyone praised for raising such impressive children, though somehow that praise always landed on my younger brother, Brandon. Brandon was 16, handsome, loud, charming, and treated like a miracle for doing the bare minimum. If he passed a test, we celebrated. If I got an A, I was reminded not to act proud. If he forgot chores, he was tired. If I forgot one thing, I was selfish. That night after the party, I stood in the hallway outside Brandon's room and heard him laughing with his friends over speakerphone. "She looked so mad," one of them said. Brandon answered, "She'll get over it. Madison always does." That sentence was worse than the card. Because he was right. I always got over it. I got over my parents using my babysitting money to pay for his baseball camp. I got over missing school dances because Mom said Brandon needed a ride. I got over my father introducing me as Brandon's sister at community dinners where he proudly listed every trophy Brandon had ever touched. I got over being useful instead of loved. But not that night. At 1:17 a.m., I packed a backpack with 2 shirts, my old laptop, my social security card, a notebook, and the 50 I had hidden inside a sock. I left my phone on the kitchen table because I knew they would track it. I took my dead grandmother's tiny silver ring from my drawer, not because it was valuable, but because she was the only person who used to ask me what I wanted. Then I walked 4 miles to the bus station in the dark. I bought the cheapest ticket to Columbus and sat in the back with my backpack on my lap, shaking so badly the zipper clicked against my knee. Freedom did not feel beautiful at first. It felt cold. It felt stupid. It felt like hunger and fear and wondering whether I had just ruined my life. When the bus pulled away, I waited for guilt to drag me back. Instead, I felt one clear thought rise inside me. If they needed me, they should have treated me like a person before I became a missing one. Columbus did not welcome me with bright lights and opportunity. It welcomed me with wet pavement, bus fumes, and a woman at a shelter intake desk asking if I had anyone safe to call. I said no before I could stop myself. For the first 3 nights, I slept in a women's emergency shelter and kept my backpack wrapped around my arm. During the day, I applied everywhere. Grocery stores, warehouses, cleaning companies, bookstores, mail rooms. The only place that called me back was a 24-hour print and shipping shop near the University District. The owner, Mr. Alvarez, needed someone for the overnight shift. Printing legal packets, binding student projects, scanning old records, packing boxes for people who never looked at my face. It was not glamorous, but it was honest. I rented a windowless room behind a laundromat from a woman named Mrs. Patel, who accepted cash weekly and did not ask questions as long as I kept quiet. My mattress sagged in the middle. The radiator hissed like it hated me. Some nights I ate crackers for dinner and told myself hunger was still better than humiliation. I wanted to feel brave, but most nights I felt like a fraud pretending to be strong. The first time I got my paycheck, I cried in the employee bathroom, not because it was enough, but because it had my name on it. Nobody had given it to Brandon. Nobody had decided I did not deserve it. I opened a new email, changed all my passwords, deleted every shared family login I could remember, and blocked every number except one. My Aunt Valerie Whitman. She was my mother's older sister, and she had been pushed to the edge of the family years ago for saying what nobody wanted to hear. I did not call her yet. I was too ashamed. I told myself I needed to become someone before I let anyone see what had happened to me. But 2 weeks after I left, while I was feeding stacks of paper into the industrial scanner at 2:40 in the morning, my new prepaid phone buzzed with a voicemail from an unknown number. I almost deleted it. Then I heard my mother's voice, broken and breathless. "Madison, please come home." We didn't know. I stood under the fluorescent lights surrounded by paper dust and shipping labels and laughed once. Not because it was funny, because after 18 years, they had finally noticed the empty space where I used to stand. I played the voicemail 5 times before sunrise, hoping the words would change. They did not. "Please come home. We didn't know." That was all my mother had said before the message dissolved into crying. At first, I thought maybe she meant they did not know how much they had hurt me. Maybe she had walked past my empty room, seen the drawers half open, found my old notebooks filled with everything I never said, and finally understood. I hated myself for wanting that. I hated the little girl inside me who still wanted her mother to choose her, even after all the evidence said she never would. By 9 a.m., the unknown number called again. I let it ring until my hand stopped shaking, then answered without saying hello. "Madison," Mom whispered. "Where are you?" Her voice sounded small, but I had learned that small voices could still carry sharp knives. "Safe," I said. "That is all you need to know." She exhaled like I had slapped her. "Do you have any idea what you've done to this family?" And there it was. Not concern, not accountability, damage control. I closed my eyes. "What I've done. Your father has barely slept. Brandon missed school twice. People are asking questions. Mrs. Henderson from church saw your birthday post was gone. And now everyone is wondering why you left right after the party. Do you understand how this looks?" I stared at the printer warming up beside me, its machine light blinking green. For the first time, I heard her clearly. She was not crying because I was hurt. She was crying because my absence had become visible. "How it looks," I repeated. "Mom, you handed me a Halaton piece of cake on my 18th birthday. It was not like that." She snapped, then softened quickly when she realized anger would not work. "Honey, you know how busy that day was." Brandon's friends had already planned the surprise, And your father thought combining things would be easier. Nobody meant to hurt you. The card said, be more like him. Silence. Then that was a joke. Everyone laughed because you made that face, Madison. You know you can be sensitive. There it was again. The family magic trick. Take the knife, stab me with it, then call me dramatic for bleeding. I almost hung up, but she kept going. Listen to me. Brandon is not doing well. He feels abandoned. He says the house feels wrong without you. He barely eats. He keeps asking why you would punish him. I press my palm against the counter and force myself to breathe. Punish him. I left because I was tired of being punished for not being him. That is unfair. Mom said, your brother loves you. He loves having me available. Her voice changed then. It got colder, more controlled. Madison, you are 18. Yes, but you are not as independent as you think. Your health insurance is through your father. Your college applications still need our financial information. Your savings account was opened when you were a minor. Do not make this harder than it needs to be. For a second, the room tilted. That was not a plea. That was a leash. I realized she had called to pull it. My sadness burned into something cleaner. Are you threatening me? I am reminding you that family takes care of family. No, I said family does not build a cage and call it care. She started crying again, but this time I could hear the performance under it. Please, Madison, come home. We can talk. Your father said if you apologize for embarrassing us, he will forget the whole thing. I laughed again quietly. Tell Dad, I do not need him to forget it. I need him to remember exactly why it happened. Then I hung up. For the rest of the day, my phone filled with messages from relatives I had not spoken to in years. Your mother is worried. Your father is hurt. Brandon needs his sister. Stop being stubborn. Come home before this becomes a bigger problem. Not one person asked why I left. Not one person asked if I had eaten, where I slept, or whether I was safe. By evening, I unblocked Aunt Valerie and sent her one sentence. I left home, and I think they are lying about why she called within 30 seconds. Where are you? She asked. Columbus. Are you safe? I swallowed hard because she was the first person to ask the right question. Mostly. Mostly is not enough. Gee, she said, send me the address of a public place. I am coming tomorrow. I almost said no. Pride tried to step in front of help, but pride had not paid rent, and pride had not held me when I cried over a dinner of peanut butter and stale bread. So I sent her the address of a library 3 blocks away. That night, I opened my old laptop and searched through saved files, cloud folders, forgotten screenshots. I wanted proof that I was not crazy. I found small things at first. Chore charts with my name on every difficult task. Texts from Mom telling me to cancel plans because Brandon needed a ride. Photos of family events where I was holding bags in the background while Brandon posed in the center. Then I found a video from 3 years ago accidentally saved from my father's old camera. It was my 15th birthday. I was sitting at the dining table with one candle in a grocery store cupcake. In the background, Dad was on the phone saying, we'll celebrate properly next week after Brandon's tournament. Madison. Watching it felt like being haunted by myself. But the real secret was still waiting in a folder labeled college. I opened it because I thought it held my application essays. Instead, I found scanned bank statements, tuition emails, and a document with my father's signature authorizing withdrawals from an account my grandmother had left for me. The account I had been told was not enough for college. The account that had quietly paid for Brandon's private school fees, his baseball travel team, his tutoring, and the birthday party, where I got leftover cake. I sat frozen in my rented room, the laptop glow on my face, while the truth rearranged my entire childhood. They had not just ignored me. They had spent me. Aunt Valerie arrived the next morning wearing jeans, no makeup, and the expression of a woman prepared to start a war before breakfast. She hugged me so hard I nearly broke. I had planned to act composed, but the second her arms closed around me, I cried like an exhausted child. She did not tell me to calm down. She did not say family was complicated. She waited until I could breathe, then bought me a sandwich and a hot tea from the library cafe. Start at the beginning, she said. So I did. I told her about the party, the card, the half-eaten cake, the voicemail, the threats about insurance and college forms. Then I showed her the files. Her face changed slowly from concern to disbelief to a kind of quiet fury that scared me more than shouting would have. "Madison," she said, tapping the bank statement. "This account was set up by your grandmother specifically for your education. Mom said it was family money. Your mother says many things when the truth is inconvenient." Valerie explained what I had never been told. Grandma Evelyn had left 2 education accounts, one for me and one for Brandon. Mine had been larger because Grandma had lived with us when I was little, and, according to Valerie, I had spent afternoons helping her after her stroke. I barely remembered it, but apparently Grandma did. She had written a letter saying the money was for Madison's future because she has always been asked to grow up faster than she should. My parents never showed me that letter. They never mentioned it. Instead, they told relatives I was not college material yet and that Brandon had greater opportunities. I felt sick. "Can we prove they used it?" Valerie nodded. "Maybe not all of it, but enough. And there is more." She pulled out her phone and opened a private community Facebook group from our hometown. My father had posted a birthday live stream from that night. I had not known. The video showed Brandon opening his iPhone, people cheering, me standing at the edge of the frame holding a trash bag, and my father joking. "Madison got a life lesson tonight. Work harder. Complain less, and maybe one day she'll catch up to her brother." The room laughed. My mother smiled. Brandon bowed, like a prince. I watched myself in the corner of the screen, smiling with dead eyes. The video had 200 likes. Comments said things like, "Beautiful family, Richard. Great parenting. Brandon is going places." That was when the revenge stopped being a fantasy and became a plan. Not revenge like smashing windows or screaming in the driveway. Something better. Something they could not dismiss as teenage emotion. Truth documented, so clearly they would have to choke on it. Valerie warned me to be careful. Do not post names. Do not threaten. Do not lie. We build this with facts. She connected me with her friend Maya Chen, a legal aid volunteer who helped young adults with financial abuse and housing issues. Maya told me what records to request, how to secure my identity, how to separate my finances, and how to document every message from my parents. I learned words I had never expected to learn at 18. Custodial account, unauthorized withdrawal, coercion, educational trust, financial dependency. Each word made me feel less insane. Meanwhile, I kept working nights at the print shop. The job became part of the plan in a strange way. I spent hours scanning documents for clients, organizing packets, learning how evidence should look when it needed to be taken seriously. I started scanning my own proof. Screenshots, bank statements, old messages, photos, the live clip, the card for my birthday, even the grocery receipt showing I had paid for the decorations. Harper Brooks entered my life during that season like a match dropped near gasoline. She was a journalism student who came in at 3 a.m. to print flyers for an independent campus magazine. She noticed my hands shaking while I sorted my own papers and asked if I was okay. I almost lied, but exhaustion made me honest. I told her a careful version. Favored brother, birthday humiliation, missing college money, family image. Harper did not gasp dramatically. She said, "That is not just a sad story. That is a pattern. Patterns are what people believe." She helped me shape my story into anonymous short videos called The Invisible Daughter Files. No names, no hometown, no faces except mine from the neck down. Each video focused on one lesson. How golden child favoritism works. How parentification hides behind responsibility. How financial control keeps young adults trapped. The first video got 800 views. The second got 12,000. The third, where I showed the card that said, "Be more like him beside the half-eaten cake," exploded. People stitched it with their own stories. Comments poured in from oldest daughters, ignored sons, stepchildren, cousins raised like servants, kids who had become adults and still flinched when someone said they were too sensitive. I expected validation to feel sweet. It did not. It felt heavy. Every comment reminded me that my family was not unique. They were just one polished version of a very old cruelty. Then Harper found something I had missed in my father's birthday livestream right before the cake scene. He thanked 3 local sponsors for supporting Brandon's leadership scholarship fundraiser. I paused the video. "What fundraiser?" Harper asked. I did not know. Valerie did. She called me an hour later, voice tight. "Your father raised money last year from church members and business partners claiming it would support both of you kids through school." I remember because I refused to donate after he would not show me details. My hands went cold. "Both of us?" "Yes," she said. "He used your name." That was the twist that changed everything. My father had not only taken money meant for me, he had used my invisible suffering as part of his public brand. The perfect family man, the hardworking daughter, the promising son, the community dream. Except the daughter had run, and now she had receipts. The next week, my mother called 11 times. I answered none of them. My father sent one message from a new number. "Enough. You are creating a situation you do not understand." I screenshot it and added it to the folder. Brandon sent a voice memo at midnight. I almost deleted it, but Valerie told me to save everything. His voice sounded different, less cocky, more desperate. "Madison, please stop posting. People at school are saying stuff. Coach asked me if our family is okay. I do not know what you want from us." I wanted to reply. I wanted my college money back. I wanted my childhood back. I wanted you to tell the truth when everyone laughed. Instead, I sent one text. "Ask Dad where my education account went." He did not respond for 2 days. When he finally did, it was just, "What are you talking about?" That told me he had never known either. For one moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered every time he had smirked while our parents compared me to him. Every time he had accepted my sacrifices, as if they were part of the natural order of the house. Ignorance did not make him innocent. It only made him protected. Harper wanted to publish a long-form article in the campus magazine, still anonymous, but detailed enough to expose the system. Maya advised caution. If your father's business contracts are involved, and if church fundraising money was misrepresented, we need documents before anything public gets specific. So, we built the trap slowly. Valerie contacted 3 relatives who had donated to the so-called education fundraiser. 2 sent screenshots of checks with memo lines reading Keller Kids College Fund. 1 sent a thank you email from my father saying, "Madison and Brandon will both benefit from your generosity." I stared at my name in that email for a long time. It was strange seeing my father use it when money was attached. Maya helped me file a request for records from the bank connected to my custodial account. Because I was 18 now, I had the right to request information. The bank did not move quickly, but they moved. While we waited, I kept posting anonymous videos. The series grew. People began asking for updates. I refused to name anyone, but the internet has a way of circling truth. Someone from my hometown recognized the birthday decorations from my father's live stream. Someone else remembered the fundraiser. Comments started appearing under his public posts. Did Madison get her college money, too? Why was your daughter holding trash bags at her own birthday? What does "be more like him" mean? My father deleted the birthday live stream. Harper had already archived it. He deleted the fundraiser thank you post. Valerie had screenshots. He posted a vague statement about a difficult family matter being exploited by outsiders. That made everything worse. Outsiders. The outsiders were the people who had watched him humiliate me and called it parenting. The outsiders were the donors who had written checks because he promised both his children had a future. 3 days later, Brandon's private school called my father in for a meeting. I knew because Mom finally left the voicemail that told me the truth was working. "Madison, this has gone too far." She sobbed. "Your brother's scholarship committee is asking questions. Your father may lose the Henderson contract. People at church are whispering, 'Please, honey, come home, and we can fix this privately.'" Privately. That word landed like a slap. Abuse loves privacy. Favoritism loves privacy. Financial control loves privacy. My whole life had been a private problem they forced me to carry publicly with a smile. I called her back that evening from the empty break room at the print shop. Harper sitting beside me with a notebook and Valerie listening on speaker from her car. "I will meet you," I said. Mom gasped. "Oh, thank God." Not at home, not alone. Tomorrow at the community center downtown. You, Dad, Brandon, Aunt Valerie, and one mediator. Silence. A mediator? Madison. That is unnecessary. So was stealing my education money. Her breath caught. Who told you that? That was the moment I knew. Not what money. Not we would never. Just who told you. I looked at Harper, and she wrote the words down. You did, I said. Just now. My mother started crying again, but I was done being moved by tears that only appeared when consequences arrived. Bring every document related to my college fund and the fundraiser. Bring an apology in writing. Bring a repayment plan. Your father will never agree to being treated like a criminal. Then he should stop acting like one. She hung up. The next morning, my father did exactly what I expected. He did not come to the community center. Instead, he sent Pastor Collins, Coach Webb, and Mrs. Henderson, the woman whose company had a major contract with his event supply business. They arrived thinking they were there to help a runaway daughter reconcile with her worried family. My father had miscalculated badly because I arrived with Valerie, Maya, Harper, printed packets, archived screenshots, bank documents, donor emails, and the birthday card sealed in a plastic sleeve. I was done begging to be believed. I had brought exhibits. The community center meeting room smelled like old coffee and floor polish, but to me, it felt like a courtroom. I sat at the end of a folding table with my documents stacked neatly in front of me. Aunt Valerie sat on my left. Maya sat on my right. Harper waited near the back, silent but present. Pastor Collins, Coach Webb, and Mrs. Henderson had all arrived because my father had told them I was a troubled daughter in crisis. He thought they would pressure me into coming home. He had no idea he had just invited witnesses. My mother arrived 12 minutes late with Brandon beside her. Brandon looked different. His hoodie hung loose. His eyes were tired, and the confidence he always wore like a crown was gone. Mom walked toward me with open arms, trying to hug me in front of everyone. I stepped back. No. The room went silent. For once, my boundary had witnesses. Where is Dad? I asked. Mom's mouth tightened. He thought it would be better if I came first. Aunt Valerie gave a cold laugh. Translation: Richard sent you to soften the room. Mom glared at her. Stay out of this. She stayed out of it long enough, I said. Then I opened the first packet and pushed it across the table. The first pages showed screenshots from my birthday live stream. Brandon opening the iPhone. Everyone cheering, me standing in the corner holding a trash bag. Then came the photo of the half-eaten cake and the card that said, "Be more like him." Brandon stared at the card like he had never really seen it before. I didn't write that, he muttered. No, I said. You just laughed when I read it. His face dropped. This was never about one joke, I continued. It was a pattern. I opened the second packet. Messages from Mom telling me to cancel plans for Brandon. Chore lists with my name on every hard task. Ignored emails about my college applications, and screenshots of my father using our family image online. Then I placed the bank records on the table. Mom's breathing changed immediately. Madison, she whispered. Don't. I looked at Mrs. Henderson. Last year, my father raised money for the Keller Kids Education Fund. Did your company donate? Mrs. Henderson nodded slowly. Yes, we were told it would support both children. I slid the donor email toward her. My name was used, but the money meant for my education was spent on Brandon's private school, training fees, and family expenses. Brandon's head snapped toward Mom. What account? Mom did not answer. That silence did more damage than any speech I could have given. Brandon looked at her, then at me, and I saw the truth hit him for the first time. He had not known everything, but he had benefited from all of it. Maya spoke calmly. Madison is requesting a full accounting of her education fund, repayment arrangements, release of her personal documents, and written correction to the donors. If the family refuses, the next step is formal legal review. Mom's face hardened. You filled her head with this legal nonsense. No, I said you filled my childhood with lies. She just gave them names. Pastor Collins removed his glasses. Coach Webb leaned forward. Mrs. Henderson picked up the fundraiser email again, her expression turning colder. Mom stood suddenly. Do you understand what you're doing? Your father could lose contracts. Brandon could lose his scholarship. People at church are already whispering. We could lose everything. I looked at her and finally understood. Even now, she was not sorry for what they had done. She was sorry people had found out. You are still asking me to protect everyone from the consequences of hurting me, I said.
Because you are family, she cried. No, iyan suara.
Because I was useful. Brandon covered his face with both hands. Madison, I swear I didn't know about the money. Maybe not, I said. But you knew I was treated like staff in our own house. You knew I was always pushed aside. You enjoyed the spotlight and never asked who was holding it up. Tears filled his eyes.
I'm sorry.
I believe you, I said. But sorry is not repayment. Mrs. Henderson stood first. I will be suspending our contract with Richard's company pending review. Mom gasped. You can't do that. I can, Mrs. Henderson said. Public trust matters. Coach Webb stood next. The school will need to review Brandon's scholarship file. Pastor Collins looked devastated. And I will have to speak with the church finance committee. In less than 5 minutes, my father's perfect image began to collapse. I had not screamed. I had not begged. I had simply placed the truth on the table and let the people who believed the lie read it for themselves. Mom sank back into her chair. Brandon looked broken. For 1 second, I almost felt sorry for them. Then I remembered the half-eaten cake, the card, the bus station, the shelter. The nights I went hungry while they told everyone we were a perfect family. Madison, Mom whispered. Please, we can still fix this.
Come home.
I zipped my backpack and stood. No, I said, you can start fixing it by telling the truth. Outside, my phone buzzed with a message from my father. You destroyed this family. I typed back. No, I stopped hiding the ruins. Then I blocked him and walked away. The consequences did not arrive like lightning. They arrived like bills. Slowly, officially, one envelope at a time. Mrs. Henderson's company canceled its contract with my father's business. The church opened a review of the fundraiser, and several donors demanded written explanations. Brandon's scholarship was suspended pending investigation, not because I wanted him destroyed, but because the application had been built on numbers my parents could not defend. My mother stopped posting family photos with captions about blessings. My father stopped giving speeches about discipline. For the first time in years, the Keller family had to live without applause. I did not post their names. I did not send strangers to harass them. I did not need to. The people who had helped build their image were the same people who watched it crack. My anonymous series continued, but it changed. It became less about exposing my family and more about helping others recognize the quiet ways favoritism becomes abuse. I used my first real savings to enroll in community college classes for digital records management. Because somewhere between scanning evidence and rebuilding my life, I discovered I was good at preserving truth. Brandon emailed me once. He said he was sorry, really sorry, and that losing the scholarship made him realize how much had been handed to him. I did not answer right away. Forgiveness, I learned, is not a performance you owe people because they finally feel bad. My mother mailed the silver letter from Grandma Evelyn. At the bottom, Grandma had written, Madison deserves a life that belongs to her. I taped that sentence above my desk. Here is the lesson I want you to take from my story. Blood does not give people the right to keep wounding you, and family loyalty should never require self-erasure. Sometimes silence protects the people who hurt you more than it protects you. Sometimes walking away is not betrayal. It is the first honest thing you have ever done for yourself. And sometimes the strongest revenge is not becoming cruel. It is becoming undeniable. I was not the jealous sister. I was not the dramatic daughter. I was the witness, the evidence, and finally the voice. So, if you have ever been the Madison in your family, the one cleaning up after everyone else's celebration, the one told to smile while your heart breaks, remember this. You do not have to burn the house down to escape it. You only have to stop holding up the walls.